So I'll start with what I think is probably the most important, and that is having a goal, having a vision. We can't really train for something if we don't know what that thing is, right? So whether that's a goal race or series of races, or even just a time trial, or a long trail excursion, whatever that goal is, something you can put on a calendar that's at least a few months out and say, I want to do this, I want to accomplish that. I think that's the first thing that's definitely most important with any coaching, any training, any improvement plan really at all. And that's something that I think I take a lot of business work experience from when I'm planning those things out, and really put together a pretty analytical goal platform and a plan to get there. So now I'll go into more of that planning next step. All right, so you got a plan, or at least a goal, right? You got a vision now. How do we put together some basics to help us achieve that goal, or at least give us the best shot at hitting it? I think a lot of talk goes into specific workouts or weekly training volume, whether that's measured in time or miles. But I think before either of those, what I found to be a lot more important is setting up that weekly structure. I think it kind of gets glossed over in the excitement of maybe workouts or how we can make ourselves feel better with some of the training volumes and some of those things, right? Kind of more external, satisfying type of measurements. But I think weekly structure trumps all of that. So what I mean by weekly structure is, what are we doing each day beyond just running? Or maybe it's not running at all, it's a rest day, or maybe a strength training. Those individual elements that make up the actual week, or if you're doing a 10-day plan, whatever that lump of time that you organize by. So what do I do? For me, what I found most effective is a couple hard days and a lot of easy days. More specifically, I usually do my longest, hardest day on a Saturday, having a normal 9 to 5. That works best for me. And then I complement that with another additional workout day, usually on a Wednesday, sometimes on a Tuesday, depending on fatigue and schedule and things like that. Now, a lot of folks recommend the actual volume being broken into 80% easy effort and then 20% of hard effort training. So that would be what you'd find yourself doing on that Saturday and Wednesday. But I think personally, if you're kind of starting out and maybe you're not doing that much anyway, and by that much I mean total time on feet, total mileage, I would say you're pretty safe in doing 70-30. So you can do 30% hard as long as that 70% is really easy, right? And then next we'll talk about what are some more specifics, right? So structure, breaking up that week, breaking up that training period into mostly easy, some hard separated by lots of easy. All right, now here's where I might really offend some folks, some coaches and some folks who've really developed great workouts, because I would argue that the specific workouts you're doing aren't actually that important. I know, gasp, right? It's not really rocket science. I think when you go out, for me on that Wednesday, that midweek harder workout, I'm usually targeting something that's in a very hard effort, right? I would say 70 to 80% of my maximal effort, broken up into intervals, whether those are on hills or longer tempos on the roads, or just actual intervals on the track. And that's what I do for that midweek workout. I would say on average, with running about 80 to 100 miles a week total, that workout is about 5 to 10% of my weekly total. It's not much, and that's including the whole workout, right? So that maximal effort or sub-maximal 70-80% of my all, that's maybe a half hour of the total run on that day. So I'm not talking doing a ton of effort. That Saturday run for me, the longer one, training for longer trail races, that one might be pretty long, but that one's, you know, maybe 60% of total effort, or of maximum effort that I can put out, right? So I'm not going anywhere near as hard as I probably do on Saturday on any individual rep, but I'm probably doing an hour and a half to 2 hours of hard running. So again, that's based on 80 to 100 miles total for the week. So when I'm in peak training, I'm running 12 to 14 hours a week. Now that's a lot. That's a lot for most people, especially if you're kind of new to this, or you're starting out to kind of coach yourself for the first time. So I definitely don't tell you to go right up to that, but let's say you're running, you know, 30 to 40 miles a week total, and that's a bigger training week for you, then you might have 15 minutes of total hard running on that Wednesday, and maybe up to an hour. So you think about those numbers, like I said earlier, that might be 30% of your total week, or maybe even more, right? So I don't think it's too you know, important to get hung up on that 80-20 rule or whatever that looks like, as long as, and this is the most crucial part, more important than the actual workouts, as long as the 70% or the 80% or all the time you're running that's not the hard workout, you know, once a week or twice a week, the whole other time on your feet should be very easy effort. What I'm doing right now, I'm talking, holding a camera, running through the trails. This is easy, okay? Not to be confused with anything else that starts getting into workout territory. This is easy recovery miles. So if there's one thing you can take away from the workouts you need to do to get better, it's the easy you need to do to get better, okay? Do lots of easy so that when you go hard for whatever that small percentage of your week is that you're doing intervals, whether those are hill intervals, trail intervals, long tempos, you're on the track. When you're doing those, you can actually go very hard. You want to see a big difference, percentage of effort wise, between this type of running, easy, and when you're doing those intervals, and when you're doing your long, you know, long workout. You want that to feel a lot different than this. The closer those two are together, honestly, the more you're going to plateau. Your brain be not going to get worse. You might get lucky and stay injury free, but if all your miles look the same every week, you're just not going to get better. So that's the one real important thing I think everybody should take away. That took me the longest to learn. I did a lot of moderate running and not a lot of improvement. So yeah, keep that in the forefront. Now, as far as specific workouts, what to do on those, you know, those workout days, I'm not going to go into that here because, like I said, I want to keep this to the basics that have really helped me. Running easy, having a consistent workout and volume and training structure in the week, those are what's really helped. The individual workouts, honestly, and this is an oversimplification, but I think you could probably do, you know, the same workout every Wednesday and every Saturday, given that those workouts were targeted toward your goal, and you'd probably improve at least a couple times doing that. So, and again, oversimplification, I know, but it's not super important, the specific, what you do every week. Again, as long as those things contribute to that end goal, you could do the same ones every week. I've heard of marathoners running mile repeats once a week and a long tempo on their weekend run for an entire build-up and running, you know, Olympic trials qualifying times. So the magic is not in that, right? The magic is in that structure. The magic is in going real hard and, more importantly, going real easy. So that's what I got to say about that. All right, so one last thing. Consistency is king. I feel like you got to approach training almost like you would investing for retirement. Because that's what we're doing here, right? We're training for longevity. Unless you really just want to have one good race in your life, but I don't think that's the case, right? We want to make this process repeatable, and we want to keep getting better. So consistency, I think one of the most important things here is to do this in a way we can replicate it, right? So that's where that weekly structure comes into play. We're doing it every week. Yeah, we set that goal, but again, it's like investing. You put the goal there, your retirement total that you want. You set it, you forget it. It's not something we need to look at every day. Sure, you can use it to find motivation and inspiration, and certainly when I have a big goal, I'm excited by that goal. It's something I really, really care about, so it will intrinsically motivate me. But I'm not looking at it every day or approaching each workout, each run, as whether it's gonna help me achieve or fail at that goal. It's not as important as that weekly process, that structure. That's far more important, right? So consistency is king there. Look at that long-term goal, put it down, and then build that structure that's gonna enable you to hit that goal. And then, real fun part, you get to the end, whether you hit 100% of that goal or you hit 80, 90, 70% even, assuming you're not injured, assuming there's nothing else that's going on that's gonna interrupt you, recover properly, whether that's a week off from running, a week of easy running, or going for some walks, or sitting on the couch. I mean, there's a lot of good info out there on how to recover properly. I won't go into that too much, but once you feel ready, once your body feels ready, you set the next goal. You bump it up a little maybe, but you keep the structure the same. You keep the workouts the same. You keep the consistency the same. That's, to me, that's one of the most important things that I didn't want to forget to mention. Just keep it consistent, keep getting after it, and hopefully we'll all be doing this till we're, in our 80s. So